Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I was nosing around on some people's channels as I was cleaning my classroom the other day, and I was going back and I was listening and watching on Todd's Bursting Bookcase. He had done a tag, and so I'm going to do the Nosy Librarian Book Tag. I saw that on his channel, and then I backtracked and saw it on Richardson's Reads. I saw Steve Donoghue do it. It was originally done by Adrian over at Stripped Cover Lit, and so I liked the tag, and so I wanted to join in the fun. This is from last year, by the way. They made this tag back, let's see, I'd found Todd did it on February 10th. And I tried to backtrack to the video that they did at Stripped Cover Lit, and I couldn't get the video link wasn't working. So I'll leave their name. I don't have a video to go with it, though. All right, so questions and prompts. So here's question number one. What has been the most influential library in your life? You know, I love pretty much all libraries. I don't know if I've found a library that I don't like. And they've all had an influence in my life in one way or another. And I know that's a very corny answer, a very easy way to try to get out of something, but that is the truth. I love my local library here in town and in the neighboring towns. They always get what you want if you want it. You know, if there's something they don't have, they can get it for you. I like what they do with the resources that they have available. I think they do a great job. But I did pick two libraries ahead of the others for various reasons. Not that they're better, or I'm not going to say that they rank way above my local libraries, because I love my local libraries. But I am going to pick the Maine State Library. So the state of Maine, their public library for the whole state. And I picked this one because years ago, 10 years ago or so, I was really going through some personal trying to get through some personal stuff, being an adopted kid, not knowing all of my family, having family members beginning to die, and I never even got to talk to them about our past and why things were the way they were and all that kind of stuff. I was really bitten by the genealogy bug and doing the family history, trying to just figure out my story as much as I could. And I picked the Maine State Library because they have an excellent genealogy section. Now, I never personally met any of the librarians or research assistants that were helping, but I sent in for a whole series of obituaries, and they were able to go through their records, their newspapers, and get those printed off and sent to me at a fairly low cost. And I really, really appreciated that. And it really helped me connect some dots and draw some lines in on my family tree, and that really helped me in just my personal life in coming to terms with different things with my past. And I know that it might not sound like much to you guys, but it meant a whole lot to me, and I really liked that. And then the other library that I chose was just my own personal library. I laughingly call it the Ruttenberg Library. But, just the library that I have accumulated over the last, 15 to 20 years. The books that I've put on my shelves have meant so much to me. They've given me all sorts of, positives. They've given me a healthy hobby. It's a good place to spend your money and not get in trouble. It has helped me in my profession. I don't know where I'd be without my books. I've learned so much from my books versus what I learned in school. Not that the school stuff was bad, I just didn't learn enough. And the books have helped feed my we'll call it my information appetite. And I just like learning. I love learning. I love to read. I love sitting in classrooms and lectures. I'm a weirdo like that. I just love listening to different teachers and their perspectives on things and how they present information. I've always been that way. And so the book collecting has become a passion of mine, and it's kind of become my goal to have the best nonfiction library, at least for American history anyway. I'm building up the world history stuff, but American history is where I'm at. And I have that goal of having the best personal library in my area. That is where I've always been with it, and I think I'm doing fairly well. I have a good collection, and so my own personal library is probably number one on the list, and I really like the Maine State Library for what they did with genealogy. So prompt number 2, or question number 2, honest assessment. What will they title your biography? And, you know, I thought about this, and I don't know. Nobody's going to write a book about me, that's for sure. But if they did, I would hope that it would have a title of, and I did steal this from something I found, but I would hope it would have a title somewhere along the lines of A Teacher to the Very End, because that's what I want to be. My teachers saved my life when I was younger. They did a lot for me, and education has done a lot for me. It's pulled me up out of the depths, so to speak, and that's what I want to do for kids. I want to show them that there's somebody out there that loves them, that cares about them, that wants to see them, you know, do better in life. And anyway, so that's what I hope my biography. And my tombstone. I want to put that on my tombstone when my time comes. Teacher to the very end. Number 3, the story from your life that you most hope your librarians never find out. Are you kidding me? Why would I tell you? It would be out in public, and then they would know. Good try, nosy librarian. Number 4, what is your favorite word? I think for me, my favorite word, and it has multiple meanings for me, but, you know, just in my study of American history, and, you know, that's kind of my passion, my favorite word might be liberty, or freedom, if you want to say it that way. But I love liberty. Matter of fact, I like it so much that if my wife and I were to have another child, I have proposed that as a name for another girl, is liberty. I love that word. And, you know, we could be talking about just the freedom that the United States gives us. Do we have our faults? Yes, we have our faults, but we are the freest nation in the world. And, you know, whether you're talking about freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of, you know, the press, you know, you can go on through the First Amendment, and then everything else that is provided by our country. It is still a beacon for immigrants. I mean, there is something good about our nation with our liberties and our freedoms. People are still pouring into this nation. And so I think my favorite word is liberty. Number 5, 3 weird things of which you are afraid, and one way which you would prefer not to die. All right, so here's my 3 weird things that I'm afraid of. I hate spiders. Always have, probably always will. I think that probably reverts back to when I was a kid. My biological mom would let Daddy Longlegs crawl on her arm, and then she would catch it with the next hand and let it crawl up her arm. And then I don't know if it comes from that. That's what I think it comes from, but it freaked me out. And to this day, I hate spiders. I don't care if they're, you know, a big daddy long leg or if they're the little teeny tiny guys. I don't like them. They are weird. They have lots of eyes and legs. Ugh, they're just creepy crawly. Can't stand them. I am afraid, or I don't like to think about evil spirits, demonic spirits. I shared in a bookshelf tour. I got a couple books by Frank Peretti that really hit on that, and just the demonic forces and all that kind of stuff. That freaks me out. I don't like scary movies. You know, the Exorcist. Somebody mentioned that as a favorite movie the other day in a video I was watching, and can't stand it. That movie gave me nightmares forever, for weeks after watching it, and so I don't like that. Can't stand it. And then one of the other things that I'm afraid of, a third thing, is just not being able to provide for my family. You know, when I was little, before I went into foster care, the one of the big problems my family had was just not being able to provide for me and my little brother, and a lot of that problem could have been alleviated by good decision making, and I don't want to be that guy. that scares me half to death. I want to always be able to provide for my family, and I can't stress that one enough. That bothers me. And then the second part of that question was one way you would prefer not to die. So I don't want to freeze or burn to death. Those are, ugh. But the number one thing that I don't want to die, that I would prefer not to die, is drowning. I am like deathly afraid and scared of drowning to death. I am not, I mean, I'm aware I am not a very good swimmer. I swim about like a rock. I mean, I can swim. I just would not want to do it in open water. I would not want to. We used to go on mission trips several years back. We had a couple mission trips that we went on, and there was this big old rock quarry, and it had filled in with water. And so there was a spot where everybody would climb up to the top, and they'd jump way down into the water. It was kind of a cliff drop, and I did it. But it scared me half to death because, you'd have people who drop and then they go out in the middle where that quarry is really deep, and they'd sit there and swim around, and they'd sit there. It's almost like they were floating. And I'm like, doggy paddling, trying not to sink. And I would immediately go back to the ledge and work my way around so that I wasn't out in the middle of the water. It just, I don't know what it is. I don't want to drown to death. Let's see. Number 6, your favorite book as a grade schooler. So I am thinking of grade school as like kindergarten through 5th grade is what I'm thinking. And I think the Boxcar Children, the first book in the Boxcar Children series, was probably my favorite. That one had a big old impact on me, and I've talked about that in other videos. I liked that series. It really stuck with me. Number 7, what have your interactions with the police been like? Well, my interactions have been good for the most part. When I was younger, I got a couple speeding tickets like just about any kid does. But that's about I can't think of anything worse that I've done. And yeah, speeding tickets. I squealed my tires when when I was in high school, or my senior year, right after my senior year. I got a 65 Mustang, and I remember stomping on the gas and squealing the tires at 40 mile an hour, stomping on it at 40, and it still can squeal it. I thought that was pretty cool until the cop pulled me over. But, I just got a warning. I didn't really even get a ticket for that. But I've gotten a couple speeding tickets. The speedometer on that old 65 Mustang used to kind of bounce. It wouldn't, as you go, it wouldn't just stick. It would bounce as you went, and you could never tell how fast you were going. I kind of knew I was speeding, but I did get busted for that. But other than that, I have never had, I am here in town, I'm friends with all the cops. Got one that lives catty corner from me, and he's a really good guy. And played softball with a couple of the others, and the sheriff. I played softball with him, and I have nothing against cops. I totally respect them in their job that they do. I think it's probably a job that doesn't get enough credit, and I think they do a wonderful job. So let's move on. Number 8, all-time favorite book cover. I don't have one. I honestly don't. I picked one for the sake of the question that I think is pretty cool, but I don't have an all-time favorite. I love the variations in covers. As you go across the shelves, no matter what shelf you're on, no matter if it's fiction, nonfiction, whatever, I love all the variations. I think the creativity is wonderful. I get excited to see what the next cover is going to look like. And so I don't really have a favorite one. I did pick one for the sake of the question, though. And I picked The Hemmingses of Monticello, An American Family by Annette Gordon-Reed. And I told you in my Friday Reads that I got to sit in on a book talk that she did, through a webinar deal. And this is the book she was talking about. And it is really cool. And it talks about the relationships of the Hemmings family and Thomas Jefferson. But if you see on the cover, there's Monticello. And I've been to Monticello. That's part of the reason I really like this book. That's Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home. If you flip over to the back of your nickel, that's what's on the back of the nickel. And down here, if you notice, if you look real close, I believe those are it's a document, but I think it's dealing with, no, it looks like maybe a diary, or is that the, I'm not sure. Maybe I should be quiet on that. It's a document of some sort. And I just think that's really cool. The old document, Monticello. So that's probably my favorite of the ones I just grabbed off the shelf. I really like that cover. But again, I don't really have a favorite because I like all the creativity that goes on back there. All right, question number 9, almost done. How many places have you lived? And I've answered this in the last, I think it was the last BookTube or book tag that I did for a video. But I'll keep it to states. I've lived in Virginia, Missouri, and Iowa. And when I lived in Virginia, it was in the Chesapeake Bay area. When I lived in Missouri, it was Northwest Missouri. There were a lot of towns because I was in and out of several foster homes, and so I moved around a lot when I was a kid, especially like before 5th grade, from first grade to 5th grade. That I moved a lot, and so I had a lot of different homes. And then here in Iowa, I've only had one home. So those are the 3 places I've lived. And then number 10 is tag 11 BookTubers. So I don't know if you guys have done this. I'm going to tag 11 like it asks. I don't know if you've done it. If you have, ignore it. If not, go ahead and feel free to do it. I tag John Warner. I tag Peg at the History Shelf. I tag Bear Reads Books. I tag Alan Braswell. Tag Sean D. Standfast. I tag A Bibliophile's Journey. I tag Everyone Who Reads Must Converse. Tag Faith in Books, The Book Traveler, The Joy of Reading, and The Book Lady. And I'd like to thank Stripped Cover Lit for creating this video. I think that was a pretty creative video, pretty awesome. Had some very interesting answers from some other channels. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to this one. And so, again, those 11 people, if you've already done it, just ignore it. If not, get in on the action. And even if I didn't name you, jump in on this. So great job, Stripped Cover Lit. Enjoyed this. This was the Nosy Librarian Book Tag. So BookTube, till next time, have a great day.